Watching the figure skating performances was really great, and like I've said, there is just this like beauty, but also this danger to figure skating to me that just like every time they were on the ice, my heart was in my throat because I got so worried. I'm like, is something gonna happen? Can they do this spin? Will they do this lift? Will someone get hurt? It's Kristen, and today we are talking about the first new show that I've watched of 2020, the first season of Netflix's new series, Spinning Out. The show stars Kaya Scodelario as an Olympic hopeful struggling with love, family, and her mental health as she dreams of becoming a figure skating champion. Consider subscribing if you like my videos and drop it in the comments and let me know your thoughts on the first season of Spinning Out. So Spinning Out starts off really strong as we follow this journey of a figure skater named Kat who is struggling to make a comeback after a really bad fall. It's such a compelling story because there's such a beauty but also a danger to this sport. Not only is she struggling with this PTSD from this injury, but she's also struggling with her relationships with her sister and her bipolar mother, as well as trying to manage her own bipolar disorder. This season heavily tackles mental health issues as well as race, sexuality, and kind of that idea of like, what do you do when like this is the only thing you have in your life and there's the potential that you could sort of lose it at any moment. What I really enjoyed about this first season were the performances and the character development. I think everyone was really solid there, from Kat's relationship with her new pair skating partner, the resident rich bad boy on ice, Justin, to Kat's mother working on her wellness journey, to even learning about Dasha's background. And the character of Kat goes on such a journey from managing her illness to having these manic episodes in an attempt to reach her dreams to eventually reconnecting with her family in a really difficult moment. Another huge highlight for me was that Jonathan Van Ness cameo. I loved that so much. I remember watching that Queer Eye episode where we really found out how much of a figure skating fanatic that Jonathan Van Ness is, and so it was just really cool and really surprising to see him kind of jump in there and make a cameo as the skating choreographer for Justin and Kat's competition, Leah and Gabe. Another cool recurring character in the season was actually IRL two-time Olympian Johnny Weir playing Gabe. I thought that was really awesome, and I would love to see more kind of cameos and things like that if the show gets a second season. Watching the figure skating performances was really great, and like I've said, there is just this like beauty, but also this danger to figure skating to me that just like every time they were on the ice, my heart was in my throat because I got so worried. I'm like, is something gonna happen? Can they do this spin? Will they do this lift? Will someone get hurt? On the other side of things though, I did think that this show had a difficulty in balancing the different storylines with the characters. There were just some characters like Mitch or Marcus who I felt like when we first met them, they had this really strong background, and then they kind of disappeared for so long that after a while I forgot they were even in the show. And because of that, I think it did make it a little bit harder to get into some of the deeper storylines that they were trying to do, like this one around racial injustices with Marcus and Alana, just because they didn't really focus on these characters that much, so it kind of made it a little bit harder to have a really big impact. It also seemed like there were kind of a lot of telling versus showing moments in terms of the storytelling, and that there were some pretty weak setups for some of the drama that they were introducing to the story. For instance, when Marcus's mom shows up for his birthday, Alana gets really mad because he introduces her as just like this concierge. I'm thinking like, why is she upset? Like, they just met. And then she proceeds to tell us that she's mad because they've been hanging out for about a month now and she wants to know what they are. So if she hadn't said that, we wouldn't really know anything because these characters have literally only hung out while they were at work, and very few times at that. I just felt like that was a constant thing where characters would make like a really bold statement like that, and then I'd be like, did I miss something? And then they would proceed to just verbally tell us what happened, and I felt like it didn't really add anything to the story. Sometimes it just felt like drama for drama's sake, and other times it felt like I was actually missing things because of the way that they set up these scenes. In terms of the weak setups, a few examples of those are there's a moment when Jen finds some type of ADD type medicine in Kat's room, and she's like, oh, we should sell these and they'll help your skating career. There was no mention of ADD before these pills came up. It felt like the whole situation came up out of just convenience, and then we see them sell the pills and nothing happens. There's no like, oops, well we got caught and we got in trouble, or you know, like it was like, what was the point of that? Or like when Serena goes with Justin's twin brothers to hang out and they very blatantly zoom in on these hockey sticks in the back of the truck, and the coach is like, make sure you don't play hockey. It just felt like this weak setup to be like, alright, well, she's about to get injured now. And even the storyline with Serena and the creepy doctor felt like it had no background. It felt like it was very shoehorned in just to like make a statement. And that's a storyline that's actually really relevant in today's society, especially with the Olympics. And it's like, if you're gonna do that story, like, do it justice. They also added a supposed big twist to Kat's original injury story that felt like it came out of nowhere. You know, if there were hints throughout the season or some big build-up that led to this, you know, sure. Like if we were like, oh, there's some kind of mystery that we're trying to unravel here, sure. It just seemed like it was supposed to be this big shocking reveal, and instead it was kind of lackluster. But I have to say the biggest issue I had in this season was Jen's character. She was such a supportive friend, she was very funny, I really liked the relationship that she was building with Dasha, and she was going on this really interesting journey of like having this injury and being a skater and like can you come back from that and what happens when you kind of can't. But then she went in this completely different direction that I absolutely hated by the end of this season. Not only did she turn into a petty cliched stereotype who blames her best friend because the guy that she likes doesn't like her, like grow up. But then she uses Kat's mental illness against her and her family, and then she takes the side of a man she barely knows over a young girl who's been taken advantage of, and I just cannot. That whole storyline just really frustrated me, and I just thought it was really disappointing that they went this route versus making Kat and Jen's friendship stronger and having them, you know, just promoting like supporting and believing other women. Overall, there were definitely some things I enjoyed about this show. That Jonathan Van Ness cameo, like, loved that. The parallels between the mother and daughter, the discussions of mental illness, the character growth, the skating, again, beautiful. But dangerous. But at the same time, I think the script was a bit soap opera-y. There were times where it just felt like drama for drama's sake, like it just started getting overkill. But again, the biggest issues I had were less about the performances, which I thought were really good, but more about just the storytelling and the balance of, you know, the different stories we're trying to follow and all of these characters that we're trying to follow. I do think that this show has some potential, and I have noticed sometimes that when Netflix gives a show a second season, that season ends up being a lot better than the first. So I would be curious to see like what would come next. It looks like, you know, maybe they would go on to the next level after sectionals. I think that they'd have to deal with the aftermath of what happened to Serena, and it seems like they were sort of setting up Jen to be this new opposition for them. Although the way this season ends, they did give each character their own kind of like little moment, their little release. It was very full circle, so I wouldn't be surprised actually if the way that it ends off, they don't really need to go into another season. This could just be a limited series. If you like this one, you can check out more of my Netflix reviews right over here, and I will catch you in my next video. See ya!